Energy, her work is going to speak for itself. Please start clapping right now. Start clapping right now for our last speaker, Kim.
As I hope you are. I thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know there were gifts given to Joseph, but nothing was like the gift he was given by seeing the work in what he did come forward, right? I'm a woman who stands here in awe of the stories I heard. I'm a woman who stands here feeling so small with such greatness around me. I'm a woman who walks among giants, and thank you for sharing your journey with me. I am a woman who stands here not ever having much success in my childhood other than getting a 10 out of 10 on the ACEs survey, a scale which means I should be standing anywhere other than right here telling that story. I didn't grow up saying I want to do drug and alcohol prevention and be a speaker when I grew up. I stand here today because I said, yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Sorry, Your Honor. I'm never going to do that again, Your Honor. And see, my mom, who struggled so much with clinical depression, struggled so much to find her voice. For whatever reason, when I was 15, she summoned up the courage to place me on what was called a PINS petition. It meant that I was a person in need of supervision. Make no mistake, I'm still a person in need of supervision. I'm just a little bit more polished about it today. But for a woman who couldn't find her voice, she summoned up everything she had to say to the family court system, I need somebody to help me raise her. The judge sentenced me to hundreds of hours of community service, and it wasn't that kind of community service that I could put on my college application. It was the kind of community service that if I don't do it, I'm going to juvie. And as big, bad, and tough as I thought I was growing up on the streets of the Hamptons, juvenile hall scared the daylights out of me. And because of that community service, I had the opportunity to do it in my high school office, which was kind of funny because I was always in there anyway getting suspended. But a community member came into the school that day, and she had 100 posters for this program called Hugs. She was this tiny woman from Georgia with this sweet Southern accent. She was that mom I always had been looking for. And she approached me, and I have to say, not every adult approached me back then. I didn't look anything like this. I had jeans that had all sorts of holes in them, not because I was trying to be fashionably trendy, but we were on public services. Those jeans belonged to 3, 4, 5, 6 other people before they made it on my body. I was rocking a Metallica t-shirt for no other reason than I have zero rhythm, and I have zero rhythm today, but I could bang out to heavy metal all day long. I had a chain that went to my wallet that had no money in it, but I felt the need to wear it anyway because I wanted you much more afraid of me before you realized how profoundly afraid of you I was. My whole energy was about me telling you my unworthy story. My whole energy was about telling you, stay away, I am no good. And here this sweet woman from Georgia saw right through that crap. She approached me. She came to me and asked me to hang these posters. And for whatever reason, divine intervention, I just did what she asked. I started walking around hanging poster to poster, and with each poster I hung, I started to read it and started to read about this conference for teens. And for every word I read, for each poster I hung, I wanted to be part of it, but I wasn't one of the shiny kids. I wasn't one of the ones the teachers always picked. And I thought for sure it wasn't for me. But everything in my being wanted to go to it. And when I got back in front of Mrs. Block, she looked at me and she said, Kim, you should go. Once an adult thought I should go to this thing, I thought it was the worst idea ever. I was like, And I started telling my unworthy story again. My limited thinking, Mrs. Block, no, it's not for me. That's for the good kids. That's for the shiny kids, not for somebody like me. Mrs. Block, I'm no good. Don't you know other parents tell their kids not to hang out with somebody like me? Don't you know I'm never supposed to make it to my 18th birthday? Don't you know I'm never supposed to get married? Don't you know I'm never supposed to go to college? Well, how dare you? How dare you see me bigger than I could see myself right now? And I said, I don't have the money to go. She said, I'm going to pay for you. I said, my mother's never going to let me go to this thing. She said, I'm going to call her. I said, Ms. Black, I can't get to Shelter Island, and Shelter Island is an island off of Long Island. She said, I will drive you. And every time I said no, she saw me bigger than I could see myself. Mrs. Block knew how to look after the neighborhood kid. And because I never know when to leave a party, I'm now the executive director of that organization today. I believe in what I do so much. I believe in it so much, I brought my own children up through my program. My youngest son struggles with autism spectrum disorder. My own son would never necessarily feel safe in school or feel like he could connect, and socially he struggled. But I brought him up through my program where he could practice doing those things in an environment that was supporting and loving and kind. He overcame a lot, and by the time he was a senior in high school, he was chosen to be captain of his football team. And that same year, he went on to sign to play Division I football. So, he's a long snapper. Nobody really cares about long snappers. Till they mess up. But what I do know is I had the chance to be on Anderson Cooper. And it was a big moment for me in my professional career. And I told my son, and he was like, Mom, I'm so excited. And I was like, hey, why don't you get your teammates together and sit in your room and watch it? Because in my mind, I could educate without educating, you know? And the whole conversation in Anderson Cooper was about the opioid crisis we're in and the overprescribing at the time of opioids where we were. And as he gathered them in the room, they're all sitting there, and he says, in his words, he was sitting on the edge of his seat because he sees his mom grab the microphone, and he's beaming with pride. He's like, that's my mom. And all of a sudden he heard in the back of the room, yo, man, I didn't know your mom was an addict. Because of all the ways that I could have been described under my byline. Kim Laube, person who's trying to make the world a better place. Kim Laube, who wants the best for you. Kim Laube, who wants to strengthen her community. Kim Laube, who wants to see you in all your greatness. It said Kim Laube addict. And for the first time, my son realized that not everybody saw us as heroes. Not everybody saw us as the miracles that we are. And he's like, but wait, I sit with her, and I know Bob the plumber, and I know Sarah the knitter, and I know all these people who do amazing things. And for the first time, he realized how the world looked at us, even sometimes in recovery. He never felt shame and gift about his Asperger's, and I love that for him. He learned that not everybody had the same grace for us. And it took him a while. But he went back to knowing his truth, the truth that he learned by sitting in meetings with me, the truth that he learned by being part of prevention, the truth that he learned by his own personal work. And he found himself proud once again of his mom and the people like me. It is essential we continue to look after the neighborhood kid. We all might have been young, but we weren't young walking through COVID. It's essential that we find and make space for them. We show them the way and see them bigger than they possibly can see themselves. To continue to champion for them even when they're trying to tell you they're not worthy. Your neighborhood kid needs you now more than they've ever needed you before. And in honor of my grandma, who would hang out of the window in Brooklyn with her house coat on, a Chesterfield in this hand, a wooden spoon in this hand, and whether her teeth were in her mouth was a 50-50. But she was going to yell at you and look after you like you were her own. Let's do that for one another. Thank you.